Hello, guys. Welcome to Reinvented, where we talk all things mental health and spirit. Okay, I can't talk today. Anyway, spiritual. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not even gonna try that. I have been talking for like the past 2 hours, just recording. So I am tired. I need to and then get this one done, and then I'm just gonna clean up and end my day because I am so tired. Anyway, so today we're gonna I kind of want to take you on my journey of, discovering myself because I think it's important. Or it's not so much that it's like important, but I think it's more of like, you know, I want people to see, you know, how I guess how I did it, so it inspires them to, you know, figure out how to discover themselves. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm just trying to think. I have like all my notes like right here, and I am like this, guys. So for one, like my story. So obviously, I have said this quite a few times. I went through probably like one of the hardest times of my life a few years ago, and I knew even like after like what I think some people would call the hardest part was over. I genuinely don't think that was the hardest part. I think the hardest part was moving on and picking up the pieces after that, because for me it wasn't even the okay, like the hard part's done. The hardest part was just, okay, how can I continue to better myself and find my new normal, right? So yeah. So I think it took a few years, and it kind of also like took a lot of me to figure out how I felt. Like I felt different from everyone for a long time. Like I feel like part of that had to do with like like everyone just tell me it's because like, oh, everyone's different from each other. Everyone's unique. But I just always had that like feeling I was like different from everyone else. I just wasn't this like same as everyone else. And it's not like there were any like physical differences, mental differences, anything like that. It was just a weird like feeling. And it took me until like I want to say like last year at this point for me to kind of like realize I wasn't. And it wasn't until I started kind of thinking like, you know, I'm like, maybe it's not a bad thing that I read tarot cards, that I enjoy, that I kind of enjoy this. And it took me a while to, even with my like tarot cards, because I would like use them for a while and then be like, nope, I'm done. And then it would be a cycle, right? And it wasn't until like I think I started putting the pieces together. Like I saw a book in for one, I saw a book in a bookstore. And it was, the intentional witch journal. And it wasn't until like I saw that I'm like thinking, that makes sense. Like it was like a light bulb in my head, right? I'm like, that makes sense. That makes 100% sense to me. And it really wasn't until that moment I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like I was always told that it was a bad thing. Um, that it was like, I'm like, you're like a horrible person, da da da, and I'm like, but now it's like, it's something for me. It's like I can make my own, right? Like I don't have to follow other people's rules of it. It's something I can make my own, and I can incorporate things I enjoy as well. So I think that's for me, like that's probably one of the most important things. Um, like my love for numbers, I can actually look at different numbers nowadays. For one, I can also like make charts. I kind of like looking into like the deeper picture, meaning of things. So think I found that, I really like that as well. Um, I also it took me a long time to realize too, like people would always tell me, they're like, "You just seem to know what to do in like a situation." And I'm like, they're like, "You seem to know your instincts pretty well." Like there were some times of like, I had that self-doubt of that, which I still experience sometimes, but I think people would like they were like, "Well, your instincts just seem to serve you right." I'm like, "But I've always been like that." Like, I'm like, that's I thought that was something everybody had. Um, that's and I'm like, it took me a long time to realize that maybe, just maybe, not everyone had that. Um, and I think it did kind of like show me like, oh, okay, like, this is something, unique to you and, not a lot of people around you. So yeah. I think it also took me a while to, because there were some people who didn't agree with like my choices. Not like, not bad, right? Like, but I grew up with people who, didn't really like see this as like, oh, you're a bad person, right? Like type of thing. But it's like for me now, it's like I don't even care. I'm like, it's not their life. It's not something that I think is going to be, it's not going to deter their life. Um, and I honestly, I don't deter, I'm not going to deter theirs either. So yeah, I think, and that's also like combating that hate too of like, oh well, you shouldn't do this. Like I would literally, I get from people like, oh well, you shouldn't do this. God will hate you, and I'm like, I just like in my head, I'm like, I just don't think that's true. Um, that never felt right to me ever throughout my life. So yeah, I think obviously there's still things to find and do and to kind of, change all that, but I think it's important to find that happy spot in your life, right, where you could take the time for yourself and not listen to other people. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you guys next week with a brand new episode of Reinvented. Peace.